The Golden Ones via Suzanne Y., April 6, 2017. Sometimes one story is worth 1,000 words. Perhaps, one day, this will be our story too. The Golden Ones talk about leaving time. Blessings, our dear ones. We, the Golden Ones, bless you from our heart, and inform you from our mind. Today, we want to remind you that, we are you, and you are us. What we mean by that statement is that, we are one. We understand, our dear grounded ones, that you may not be able to understand what we are saying. Therefore, we are here within your now to share a bit of timeless time so that you can remember that time is an illusion of the third and fourth dimensions. We begin our communication by asking you to remember that ascension is leaving time. So, if we try to put a time marker on moving beyond time, we are limiting our consciousness to third, fourth dimensional thinking. You may have heard of the term, what you think about, you bring about. Many of you have cast that saying away, as it did not seem to occur within your third dimensional lives. Some of you even became afraid that you could control your reality by just thinking. Then, your fear lowered your consciousness, and you could not even control yourself. One of the major problems here is the word control. Control is a power over concept. Therefore, holding that concept in your mind only serves to make you feel more, and more out of control. You see, beloveds, your fifth dimensional selves are now interacting with your third, fourth selves in a manner that has never occurred before in any of your many earth realities. Never has your fifth dimensional self been given permission to interact with your third dimensional self without the conscious acceptance of guidance from your higher self. We are pleased to say, that safety net has now been released. The safety net that surrounded your third, fourth dimensional self was an invisible 3D matrix. It was not within the original divine plane to have this 3D matrix, but Gaia became so wounded by the fall of Atlantis, and the many other atrocities that followed, that she needed the 3D matrix to connect her to her necessary orbit. Each planet and celestial body has their own orbit, which is necessary for each celestial body to share space within the frequencies of flow that resonated to each celestial body. However, poor Gaia had so many difficult years of war, fear, power over others, and other atrocities, that she could no longer maintain her own necessary orbit. It was then that the fifth dimensional ones were called to inhabit Gaia's planet in an attempt to bring a degree of order, and, hopefully, unconditional love to balance Gaia's chaos, and fear. It was in that now that the Arcturians, Pleiadians, and Sirians came from their home planets to assist Gaia. Of course, even after the much-needed assistance, old patterns returned, and Gaia found her planetary self in trouble again, and again. How did I attract humans who were so destructive to my body? Gaia asked. Even with the assistance of the Arcturians, Pleiadians, and Sirians, and even the Andromedans, joined in to assist me? How did I somehow attract humans who were so destructive to my body? Gaia asked again, and again. I just need more fifth dimensional humans, Gaia cried to her higher dimensional rescuers. If there were somehow enough fifth dimensional humans to balance the fear and anger of the third dimensional humans, I may be able to complete my planetary ascension. Millennia after millennia passed, and Gaia found her planetary self in much the same situation. Yes, many galactics made the great sacrifice of taking an Earth vessel so they could incarnate on Gaia's third-dimensional planet. However, the many cycles of fear and war had left Gaia's reincarnating humans falling again and again into old patterns of fear and anger. The only solution now, Gaia proclaimed, is that, I must begin my ascension. I have waited again and again for the lost ones to find themselves. Now, I must ascend, even if they cannot come with me. Of course, the many humans who had studied, meditated, served, loved, and worked hard to assist Gaia were very happy about this decision. How can we help? They all asked. Gaia was overjoyed to discover that there were many more fully awake, and unconditionally loving humans than she expected. Therefore, Gaia answered the brave human's question with, "Please, I need you all to clear my sky, clean my oceans, feed my animals, and help my people who cannot help themselves." Now, of course, not all humans could actually talk with Gaia, but there were a lot more than anyone suspected. Also, these people deeply loved Gaia. Therefore, they did not ask her for help. Instead, they openly and lovingly asked Gaia, "How can we help you, dear mother?" Gaia was so very overjoyed by this event, as the humans actually were helping to clear her skies, purify her water, fertilize her earth, and care for her many creatures who could not, yet, care for themselves. More and more people were leaving their hectic city lives to move out into the country where they could work the land with others who also loved Gaia. More and more communes were forming. Fortunately, these were not like the many communes of the past where people joined, because a person told them that he or she would change their lives. No, these people did not come to ask. Instead, they came to serve. Gaia was overjoyed, and her planet began to recover. However, yes, we must add the however, the ones who feared change, the ones who worshipped power over others, and the money that they gained from that power over, were also banding together. Quietly, and secretly they laid out their evil plans. "These silly tree huggers," they exclaimed, "are so busy helping Gaia, that they are not paying attention to that which was hidden in the mansions, airplanes, banks, and underbellies of life." "Ha!" laughed the dark ones. "Those silly hippies are back again. It must be time to start another war. Then we can find a way to get them in the army, so they are totally under our control." "When will this end?" Gaia cried. Gaia's cry was so loud that everyone heard it. Of course, the humans were the last to hear it, and the Illuminati were the very last. However, even at first, the sky heard Gaia's call. The earth heard Gaia's call. The waters all heard Gaia's call, and the sun heard Gaia's call. "This is enough," said Saul. "Gaia is a free will planet, and people must ask for help to receive it. However, people have asked for help, animals have asked for help, even Gaia herself has asked for help. It is the now to turn on Gaia's inner crystals, and shine her innate wisdom, power, and love out from her core, and into the heart of all the humans who had volunteered to be the keepers of the land, and of every cetacean, whales, and dolphins, who were meant to be the keepers of the water." Most of the humans were so lost in defeat that they did not hear Gaia's call. But the cetaceans, and their family from Sirius B, heard Gaia's call. The Pleiadians, and Antarians, and the Andromedans heard their call. Suddenly, the skies that were once filled with sorrow were filled with starships with the Arcturian flagship Athena leading the way. The humans who had lived by power over others knew their day was over. They grabbed as much of their money that they could, got into one of their personal jets, and tried to fly away. But, their planes did not start, their limousines did not move, their mansions locked them out, or in, and their money crumpled into shreds of useless green paper. And then it happened. Gaia arose from her core, and duplicated her majestic image in the north, the east, the south, and the west. Everywhere, the people looked up into the sky to see the loving face of Gaia. Every thought they allowed to pass into their minds was instantly manifest. Every emotion that everyone felt within their ever-expanding and undulating bodies was felt by everyone. There was no separation. Those that the good people of Earth once feared and hated were warmly embraced, and even kissed by the persons to whom they had just lost their family home. The poor lost all their shame, and the rich threw their money into the air, and watched as it fell unnoticed under the feet of those who were filled with joy. Because time had ceased to exist, the celebration went on, and on. The lion lay down with the lamb, as the sun and the moon shared the sky. The children laughed and played, while many of the adults fell to their knees to give thanksgiving for the honor of experiencing that now. And, indeed, it was the now, as it did not end. The glory of the now continued on, and on, and on. Finally, people got tired, and some of them found their way home to fall onto their beds in total joy and exhaustion. Expensive cars were left unlocked on the street. The many shards of paper money floated through the air, and lay on the ground. Only a few returned to their cars, many did not return to their homes. They all wanted to stay close to whatever this event was. In fact, many of those who had started to go home returned. They did not know what had happened, how they caused it, or if they deserved it. They only knew that they felt free. In fact, within that now, many realized that this was the only time in their life that they had ever felt free. They were free, life was free, love was free, and a ride in one of the many Palladian scout ships that were landing was free. People lined up peacefully to get a ride on a spaceship. No one pushed, or shoved, or was afraid to enter the starship. No one even wondered what was happening. In fact, most people were sure they were just having a wonderful and amazing dream. And they did not want to wake up. What they did not know was that, for many of them, this was the first time in all in their many incarnations that they were ever totally awake. But, this was not awake as opposed to asleep. This was awake to a reality that had always been there, but it resonated to a frequency that they could not yet perceive. So, how did they all perceive it within that now? Was this event a reward, a scam, a holographic projection? Fortunately, no one, not even one person, asked those questions. If someone were to open the gates to heaven, and usher you in, not matter what, would you say no? And, no one, said no. Even the Illuminati did not say no, they said, yes. They said, hallelujah, and most important, they said, thank you, thank you, thank you. Was this all a dream, a hallucination, or was everyone just crazy? Crazy, or not, dream, or not, every one of them needed to live this ascension dream, hallucination, fantasy, within that now, as well as within their every thought, and every action. Most of all, what they remembered from this experience was that ascension is not a place that we go to, or a reward for being good. Ascension is leaving time, and moving into a reality that is completely different from you all of the many third and fourth dimensional lives that they had ever experienced. I know that I left time during this experience, because I am still there now. I don't know how to explain this, but when I left time, I stayed with, am staying with, this experience. It is like a feedback loop that does not end, but every loop is a bit different from the previous one. Therefore, this experience, this imagination, this reality, is constantly growing, changing, morphing, and expanding. Therefore, I am experiencing a constant movement within me, within every moment of the now. It is very difficult to experience living in the now of the one, while still wearing a physical body. In fact, my third-dimensional body wonders, if I made this whole thing up. Maybe I did. It is all very confusing. Therefore I need to not think, and not desire, and just be in this now. How do I do that? The answer is one that we will each have to, personally, and collectively, remember what we always knew. I don't remember being born, my first step, or my first words. My past is a collage of different pictures that don't exactly fit together. Perhaps it will be the same within the fifth dimensional now. However, I just said will be. We third dimensionals are addicted to time. How can we remember without time? How can we plan our lives without time? Well, I don't have any more time to ponder this situation. So, I guess I need to just let it be. What do you think?